Hey Russell, alright, so here's your past life spread. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at where you are, what you did for the majority of your time, an important day, another important day, the death, and the lesson learned. And we're going to get hints of time throughout. And so your job is going to be to try to make connections with what you're hearing here to your current life. And I'm going to try to help you with that. Alright? So let's start. Here, as far as where we are, this is like the nomad card. So this can mean a couple of things. This can mean, one, this place doesn't exist anymore. Like whatever it was called when you lived there in this life, the name changed or the terrain changed, whatever it is, and it doesn't exist anymore. Or it can mean that it's someone that moved around a lot and didn't really have a home base. And what I'm feeling like for this is a little bit of both. I feel like this place isn't what it was called, and I also feel like there was movement, and I also feel like this place was really cold. So I get images and impressions, for the reading throughout, and so I'm just going to relay to you what I'm seeing. And what it is like a mountainous region where there are places where it's completely flat within the mountains. So it's almost like mountain, and then this area would be like flat. And I feel like there's a lot of activity as far as whoever you're with, the community you're in or the family you're with, they're very active. And I don't know, as far as like, this is not modern times, but yet we're seeing people who are kind of like what's it called, utilizing their surroundings and their environment to have fun. In a way, like skiing. If there was skiing back in this time, you'd be skiing. It's almost, actually, now that I say that, it's almost like the feeling of putting that thing on your foot, snowshoes. I feel like snowshoes were definitely something that was utilized in this lifetime. And so it's just like lots of white snow. Like, so wherever you are, it feels like it's mostly snowy. And I feel like it's a mountain range that we would know today, and I'm not really good with mountain ranges, but the word Himalayas comes up in my mind, so I'm just going to go with that. And so, for example, how you can connect with this is either 1, if you are a mountain person, 2, if you are a snow person, 3, if you are someone that tries to make a good time out of something that is mundane, or someone that sees beauty in something that is otherwise mundane. Almost like you might be the person in the group that tries to bolster everyone's spirits and let's make a game out of this, even though we're in like a weird situation, let's try at least look at the positive kind of thing. So keep that in mind if that speaks to you. On the other hand, how you can connect is kind of the opposite, where you can't stand snow and you're not a mountain person, and maybe you are, and maybe you'd rather in this life you've chosen to be more like sedentary, because when our souls experience one thing in one life, they come back, they want to experience other things, which makes sense. So that's how you can connect either way. It can connect either way, so keep that in mind. Now, what you do with the majority of your time. This is the take care of me card, and that can mean a few things, right? It can mean someone who is ill or sickly and they have to be taken care of most of their life. It could be someone who's lazy or spoiled and who wants to be taken care of. In this case, it feels like it's the sense of living in a family or a community where it's everyone's job to take care of everyone's job. So it's not like you're singled out as like this spoiled person where you just want to be taken care of, and it doesn't feel like you're sickly or ill in that sense either. It's just a feeling of you're going to be taken care of, because that is what is done where you live, with the people you live. And so I feel like you have an immediate family and then that community. And I feel like everyone knows everyone here, and it's almost the feeling of tribal. It's almost the feeling of Inuit. It's almost the feeling of that, like a native tribe of some sort. So in your current life, 1, you can connect to Native American things. 2, you can connect to the feeling of liking a small community, liking the feel of a community where people know each other, kind of like it takes a what's the word? God, now I can't. To raise a child, that phrase. It takes a village to raise a child, that kind of thing. So that's where we have you. And so in your current life, that can be what you enjoy or what you're looking for or what you are comfortable with. On the other hand, because you experienced it here, you could be someone who likes to jet off and who likes to be independent. Even if you have a family, you like to take your family and be independent of the community. Maybe you like the city, that kind of thing. So it could go either way. So keep that in mind as far as making connections. Oh, you also might be someone who feels almost like, I hate this word, entitled, but it's not like, it's not like spoiled entitled, just like you might be someone who's like, oh, well, of course my family's going to help me because it's my family. Like, it's very natural that the ones that are closest to you would help you in whatever way, whether it's financial or whether it's watching the kids or whatever it is, favors wise. It would be very natural for you to assume that family would be there for you. And again, that's not like a spoiled thing, that's just like something that would come from here, because in this community, of course, anyone would take care of anybody because that's kind of like everyone's job. So that's why I feel like we're looking at that being the majority of your time. The majority of your time is being in this community. That's your job, is to be of the community. So that also means you could be someone that likes volunteer work, or something like that. You might actually be really easily bonded with youth, taking care of youth or things like that. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, so we want to go to the first important day. And here we have the Wowzer card, which I really love. This day usually means an elevation in kind of like your soul growth. Like, whoa, like something surreal happened. You saw something amazing. You felt something amazing. Just like you leveled up, kind of. And then the relationship involved is the soul group, which makes a lot of sense actually, because we're looking at someone who's part of a community. Now this card we have removed and distant. This is the emotion card. So this is the emotion involved in what's happening in this time right here. And so you think like, oh, a Wowzer card and the soul group and the community, why is there a distant and removed card? So I'm just asking for clarification what's coming up. And I feel like something happens where you witness something that is kind of out of this world, or something you've never seen before, or something like, let's say you see something in the sky that is unusual, and they're either one, the rest of the community sees it and they don't do anything about it, or two, they don't see it and you're left, whether or not they see it or not, you are the one over here that is kind of blown away and taken out of this kind of herd mentality, because when people get together they could all start thinking alike. And so if nobody here, if everyone, let's say everyone saw it and then everybody's like turning a blind eye to it and moving on with their work, so to speak, you're the one that's like stepping away and you're thinking like, wait a second, I want to get to the bottom of this. I want to learn more about this. Why is nobody else paying attention to this? This is phenomenal. This is interesting. So it's almost like there's something like, even like a meteor in the sky or something that is just bedazzling, it feels like. And you are really taken with it. And this feeling of removed and distance, I feel like this is a day where you step out as an individual for the first time of this community. So in your current life, you could be someone who feels like there is something special about yourself. And that's good and that's okay. And you want to do something with that, but maybe you haven't found it yet. Or you feel like there is something, like you might be someone that actually likes like reading about conspiracy theories or something unusual. Maybe you like learning about like top secret ranks in the military, or you like to, it doesn't even have to be that secret. It could be something that is unusual and kind of a niche, like something very like, you like learning or studying about something that is just very you, and something that other people would not really understand how interesting it can be, because you just keep diving. So you might be someone who is like that, which also means you could be someone who may have a tendency to be a researcher. You might like researching things that hold your interest, not just doing it. Like, oh, I love to, let's say like mountain climb. Well, you're not just gonna go mountain climb, you're gonna research like, the knots involved and layers of rock, like someone who likes to know everything about what it is that you're taking on, if that makes sense. So here it's important too, you step away from the community, and so we're looking at someone who is for the first time in their in this life, we're looking at someone who's becoming independent. So in your current life, you could be someone who is very independent. It would stem from this life of you taking that step out of that herd mentality and leveling up. And you might be someone who also is a people watcher, someone who is an observer, which would put you on the outside looking in kind of thing. So if that's the kind of person you are, if that's like what you like to do, just know it would stem from here, from when your soul was like, I'm leveling up, I'm stepping away and looking in. So you're able to see how people all think the same when they're like the same. So actually that can also transfer to you in your current life as someone, let's say politically wise. You could be that person that's like, how are all these people following this leader when he's clearly nutso? You know, like you're the one that's able to kind of see through the bullshit, versus most everyone else just kind of goes along with the crowd, so to speak. So you could be that person as well, the person that steps away from the crowd and can see a larger picture. And these feelings come in distant and removed because that's what you kind of had to do, because these people were your everything. The community was everything, and it's kind of like, it is a bit hurtful when you step away, you see all this, nobody's joining you. You have to somehow numb yourself to the fact that these people don't believe you or don't see value in what you perceive to be valuable. You know, it's kind of, this is where your soul is like, I don't care whatever everyone else thinks. I don't care if they're judging me. I'm going to pursue this. So in your current life, you could be someone who really does not care what other people think. So on the other hand, because you've had this day here, you could be someone who's actually really worried about what people think because you already experienced being able to be independent here. But it feels more like in your current life, you are someone that either is independent or really wants independence. And it's almost like a message that if you are someone that wants independence, even a little bit, just like a day to yourself or whatever it is, as soon as you do that and you take that step towards giving yourself that time, things are going to be a lot easier and smoother for you. It's almost like, that's kind of what I want to say from this is, give yourself time that you need and you'll be a lot happier, if that makes sense. Okay, so next important day. Here we have the war cards. So this is when people are coming in to invade, or that's when you see like war is in sight, like something is happening where there's going to be some kind of clash. And the card we have here is the spouse card. And the feelings involved is sadness. This is kind of like a depression or a sadness. And so what it feels like, honestly, it feels like I feel like we're looking at a tribe. And I feel like there's a run-in with another group. And I feel like there's a clash of violence involved, even though I feel like mostly this is not like a violent place. But I feel like there's something where there is instability, and I feel like you did have a partner, and I feel like something happened with the partner. I'm just trying to see what it is. What's happening here? I feel like it's the kind of thing where they take the women and children kind of thing, but it doesn't seem like, I want to say it's not as brutal as they kill everyone. I think it's more like they subdue everyone, and because of their sheer numbers, they take women and children. In fact, I don't even think it's another tribe like you. I feel like it's actually, we're looking at like your tribe is more primitive in a time when the rest of the world has kind of moved on a bit. So I feel like for the first time you're seeing outsiders who are completely foreign to you. And I feel like these foreigners come and take the women, children kind of thing, or maybe even just the women. There's a bit of a slave aspect to this, and I feel like there's just this fight involved, and I feel like no matter what, you couldn't do enough. I feel like your tribe is more peaceable, that's why they don't know how to fight. Almost like they're so isolated, all they can, they're peaceful and isolated, so there's no fight really, it's just the taking. And so in your current life, you could be someone who, this might sound weird, but never liked to share. Like even as a kid, you just never liked to share. You could be someone who's possessive about your possessions. You could be someone who really values some like material things, which isn't a bad thing. Like, you know, you just really take care of your stuff and you keep an eye on it, and you don't like lending things out in general. That could be who you are today in your current life because of this. On the other hand, you could have learned from this, and you can be a very generous, sharey kind of person because of the feelings you had here where you're like, mm-mm, mine, never again, that kind of thing. So keep that in mind if that speaks to you in any way. As well, if you have a significant other, you could be someone who's kind of territorial, possessive over that person, not liking, like you could be someone who, what's the word? It's just, you like to keep your eye on your things, so to speak, and you might be like this awesome person, but it doesn't matter because your soul memory might have been so like warped from this that when you have a partner or someone that is yours, even children, you could have a tendency to see these people as kind of your property, even though you might not be like that at all. Like, you know, it doesn't really make a huge impact. You just might have little thoughts of like, mine. So keep that in mind if that does speak to you at all. Also, you might be able, in your relationships, friends, family, whatever it is, if you find yourself having a hard time or struggling with them, you could be someone who experiences depression from that. Like, not easy to move on from struggles or arguments or things like that you might carry with you as well. You might be someone that's not easy to let go. You might be like holding grudges, but more so you're just holding on to some hurt that you need to let go, and it's hard to. So keep that in mind if that speaks to you. So let's move to the Death card. So here is the Water card. And that can mean a bunch of things. So, I mean, it could be, you know, you could be drowning, waterboarded, just anything having to do with water. So I'm trying to see what's happening here. Okay, so what it feels like right away is a blanket of ice coming down on you. It feels like we're looking at something like an avalanche because you're in snow a lot in the mountains, and I feel very much like it's one night it falls on you, and not just you, it's your community. So I feel like a lot of people are taken at the same time, and I feel like we're looking at an avalanche that just falls on you and you kind of freeze to death. It also might be the impact of the snow. So in your current life, if you experience breathing issues, things in your chest, if you're someone that gets pneumonia or bronchitis, infections in your chest or lungs, lung issues, and also if you're someone that finds yourself to be cold a lot for no reason, keep that in mind as well, because that would stem from here. What else? You actually, because of the pressure, you might be someone who has ear problems as well. So keep that in mind if that speaks to you. If not, that's fine. But if you do have any of those symptoms, it would stem from this life. So your lesson here is to dream big, and we're looking at someone who was in this tiny community who had this moment stepping out and looking in, but couldn't do anything about it because this is your community. You don't know what's in the outside world. You don't know where you're going or what you would do if you left. So you really weren't able to even think about bigger things, even though you felt like there's something more, there's something big out there, and you couldn't really do anything about it. So in your current life, this is an opportunity. The message I feel like is coming through is that take the opportunity, take advantage of the life you have now, where you're in this modern era where you have things at your disposal, where you can go and experience things. There's opportunities, there's possibilities, there's like an awesome variety of things to do and places to go, people to meet. So you might find yourself kind of that person that wants to experience life to its fullest. And if there is something you want to do or get done, or a place you want to travel, or even like a degree you want to get, or things you want to study, it would be to your greatest advantage to do that now, like not to put it off any longer, because you're in an age and a place where you can do that. So it's almost like the message is take advantage, like just take advantage while you can of experiencing this life to its utmost fullest, because of how isolated it was here. It's time to kind of break out and do what you want. And also, if there is something you want to do, like complete, like a project or something like that, get on it. Like take a step towards it and start working on it, and it will make you super happy. It will open up doors for you, because this, I feel like, again, this is the life where it's time to take advantage of things while you can. And that's, you know, talking about your dreams. That's talking about who you want to be, what you want to do, who you want to meet, where you want to go. There's just so many things. I just feel like the world is your oyster, and you really need to like kind of grab it by the balls and do it. So anyway, as far as time goes, I feel like we're looking at a period of time where the rest of the world was moving on, and your community is stuck a little bit back. And I don't think we're looking though too far back. Like, I don't think this is even like many centuries ago. If anything, I feel like we're looking at just a couple hundred years ago tops. And in the meantime, the rest of the world is moving on. And I mean, I feel like this wouldn't be any earlier than we're looking at the 1700s, late 1700s. I feel like the rest of the world is going through a revolution of some kind. I don't know which one it might be, but I feel like the rest of the world is kind of picking up pace, but you're stuck in this little community, and I feel like that's the time period we're going for. So, also I forgot to mention this feels very much like a male life, all right? And this is someone, and also the imagery I forgot to mention was wearing a lot of furs. So keep that in mind, and there's your past life reading, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for letting me read you.